The Tomb of Alexander the Great and Forbidden History. Have you ever wondered why the griffins and the sphinxes and other monsters, which according to tradition were created by the Rigori, stand above the lending library of Athens, that is, the main center of knowledge of Athens, in a position of submission, like dogs to their master? The vigilantes were the elders, and according to the book of Enoch, they were angels who guarded the gates of the earth so that the devil and his demons would not enter. That is, the later self-proclaimed god Zeus of the Greek mythology and his Olympian gods, the idols. They have placed this great secret in such a central spiritual point, but do those who place them there know that the monsters submitted to those who created them with their actions? The 201 delinquent angels themselves, according to the book of Enoch, created these monsters on the planet with a mixture, hybrids, they had with the women of men. And they themselves tried for years, the Nephilim, and they themselves tried for years to eliminate them. The Titans and Titanomachia, the battle of the Titans, were not enough. Humans had to be recruited to eradicate the monsters from the planet. And already the generation of heroes had withdrawn, the offending angels themselves withdrawn. Hercules was caught by lightning bolt in the heavens, that is, the father himself, Zeus. Semiazus blasts a race of heroes, a mixture of humans and angels, obviously, and destroys them. And for this purpose, he also uses his monsters, the creations, the centaurs, for example, half man, half horse, to give the poison to the Anira. And the writer says, consider the point is easily the one of the 4th century BC, during which Alexander the Great, with the help of Zeus, destroys Thebes forever. And Cadmus, Thebes, we know Cadmus. I've seen a step pyramid in Thebes, and obviously that's they found 2 human skeletons, and they took LiMAR images. They found 2 human skeletons are found at the bottom, or the base of this pyramid. So the Cadmus were not human, but dragon seeds. The Persian Empire, similar tribes, hence the Thebans were always their allies. They dissolved the cities of Tyre and Sidon, cities of giants. Nephilim gathers all the monsters he finds as far as India and imprisons them in the area where birds don't fly, Arno Petra, along with the 72 nations of demons around the Indus River. In his campaign, the Spartans do not follow, those of the island of Pelops, neither the predecessors of the territories of Titan's daughter, nor of course the people of demons, a mixture of humans and demons, Lacedaemonians. And how could they, after all, mess with their generations? Let it not escape us that the fall of the mighty Athens will come from the invitation of the Persians from the Spartans. What particularly struck me about Alexander's campaign is the image below. It reminds of Athens wearing celestial helmet as usual, white draped tunic, holding the shield with her free hair, the goddess Athena. I would not have been impressed, the writer says, by the image if it was not a depiction of the lands where the campaign of the greatest of the Greeks took place, whom even the apostles as Gentiles, St. Paul, respected. Greece is the feather in its cap, the highest point. Egypt is her shield, the holy place is her hand. Alexander, the spirit of Macedonia, the northern Greece, appears as an apparition in the sleep of the apostle and asks him, in exchange of the liberation of Jerusalem, to preach the gospel in Greece and not in Asia, which he had decided to go to. Jerusalem, there is a place where the earth will become holy. the one that God honored with his presence. The great soldier, meeting the procession of priests from Solomon's temple, recognized in one of the robes with which God had appeared to him in a vision the night before. So he entered the temple alone and worshipped inside the veil. Of course, no one dared to stop him. That is Alexander the Great. Let's think about which other prophet of Israel or any other tribe was qualified to see God, even in a dream, even in a vision. We're making a spiritual detour here, a detour to refer to the works of Titan, the creature born of mortals from mixing with the delinquent angels, Nephilim, or delinquent angels, or even demons, Prometheus. We must note the following, which the author Fourakis has highlighted, publishing several times in the past. The goddess Athena and Ephesus came to Athens from Lake Kifisida after the flood. There was a first Athena, or some of Athens, because, as we know, there have been many floods, and there were other Athens. Athens is, and Ephesus wants to have relations with Athena, ejaculated on her thigh. Likewise, the First Testament, Abraham swore to Eleazar on his thigh that Isaac would not marry a human woman, and in the thigh, Nero, where the spirit rests to flow, it is now encased in a human biological organism. The first formed cells of humans exists. Athena wipes Ephesus' sperm from her thigh with a tuft of hair. He deposits the spawn and places it in a cyst, as if to say in a tube, depositing the cyst in a pandroson, where it always has this low temperature refrigerator, to make Erichthon immortal secretly from the other gods. Erichthon was, as we know, the first god of Athens, and the first king of Athens. He was half man on top and half snake on the bottom. An artificial insemination program is clearly visible here. The bottom line is that people on the planet have strange peculiarities, and the writer says, I will not claim that the Greek is different from the common man. I know from certain friends, a biologist and a geneticist, that the so-called fragile H does not exist in Greeks, while it is specific in almost all other races. If the biologists want, let them do the specific research on the differentiation of Greeks, and they will find the truth of the matter. The following picture, published in the magazine a few years ago, shows an Indian man with his angels under his armpits. He's both man and fish. The beliefs of the Indians who go to die in the waters of a certain sacred river in order to become sanctified are well known. The corpses remain buried in the river and its banks. This tells us something. The Indians were the Atlantic colony for many decades. One of the 7 islands of the Atlanteans was in the Indian Ocean. The relation of the Atlanteans to the sea is well known. In India, the most awesome, strange things on the planet have happened. Many campaigns, huge, of pro-Greeks there, and the goal of Alexander the Great's campaign, the ultimate goal was the creation of the Atlanteans, and they were directly related to the sea. The human coccyx consists of 4 to 5 vertebrae. The 4th or 5th is bifid and acute, or unifid and acute. If investigated, it will be seen that the Greeks have a coccyx consisting of 5 vertebrae, but the 5th is smooth and round, never sharp or single or bisected. Another sign is the earlobe. In Eastern philosophy, which has copied many elements from Asclepius, the ears are a micrograph of the fetus. In fact, it's one of the key centers of our genetic code. Always, in all races, the large earlobe is a sign of uniqueness and wisdom. Look out for the Buddha representations. They show us big pods as well as the Chinese sages. Many Africans and Indians try to artificially lengthen their ears by hanging heavy objects on their earlobes. Kubla Khan agrees to speak to Marco Polo when he points out that he has great earlobes. Julius Caesar, when he wanted to show his favor to someone, pulled his ear, and so did Hitler, as these are only a few examples of the great importance that was always given to the earlobe. In our time, the pulling of the ear remains for other reasons, but it remained. As for the strange hominids, there are very few references to the Hypochthonians in ancient times, those people living underground. The Periplus of Agatharchiris, a multi-volume work by a great geographer who toured Asia as far as India before the campaign of Alexander the Great, is full of such references. He even recorded sphinxes, mutated humans with animals, birds, and reptiles. Scylax, the greatest geographer of the 4th century BC, toured India at the behest of the Persian king Darius to record its nations and tribes. He mentions the existence in India of imaginary beings, scipods, otolithines, monoclars, that is, people with one eye, long heads, and pygmies. The Persians in their army had many such monsters active. Perhaps this was the reason for the work assigned to them. Alexander the Great met many of these monsters that the women of men had given birth to after mixing with the demonic entities, the fallen angels, the 201 guardian angels of the gates of the earth, Zeus, and the 12 gods of Olympus. That is, it's believed that the craft, half the fleet, which he ordered to be sunk somewhere in the Aegean, contained exactly all the coded human knowledge around the subjects that humanity should not know, as he had been instructed by Zeus. Semiramis, one of the fallen angels, his mission was not the conquest of Asia, but the disappearance of all these Nephilim monsters that Semiramis Zeus showed on earth. And this we will see from the fact that when his work was finished, that is, Alexander the Great work was finished to get rid of all these Nephilim, exhausted and tired from the constant battles with a few chosen champions, he immediately traveled to Shiva in Egypt, Abyssus in Egypt, to report the end of the mission to the sanctuary of Zeus, it seems. Alexander the Great fights against three-horned monsters in Brussels, an image of the 18th century. Much has been said, especially about the genus Cynocephala, that's the dogheads. They were in the mountains of the Indus River and central India, where they lived in caves and underground galleries, and all of them, male and female, had long tails. These beings have been called troglats. They are strange races of beings called by many the Grey or Deras, who inhabited the subterranean kingdom under the surface of the earth, the largest of which is the steppes of the Gobi Desert in Mongolia, below the Himalayas as well as elsewhere. And the writer says here, I briefly referred to the Achaeans, to the Mycenaeans. We believe that the correct spelling is Mycenaeans and not Mycenaeans. It means that these people were not of the others, the dogs, the dog-faced, not the dog-heads, that is. We do not know if it refers to the dog-headed race that actually existed post-Christian on the planet. Saint Christopher, patron of travelers, was one of these dog-heads and is represented in many images with a dog head, or it refers to the non-demonized state of man. And this I've translated for you from a Greek article concerning ancient mysteries and Alexander the Great's mission of getting rid of the Nephilim, the abominable race. Please leave your comments, and thank you for your support. Please support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support, and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.